99.1, the sports animal. Vince Ferrara alongside Jimmy Hyams here on the Jimmy Hyams Wrap-Up Podcast. So Tennessee with a 63-6 win over Akron out of the MAC. And Jimmy, obviously, the point spread was the biggest topic of conversation this week. Tennessee did cover that number at 47.5, but just some big picture thoughts on what you saw here tonight.
Well, the offense was very efficient. They scored at least 14 points in every quarter. They had a lot of explosive plays. There were 4 touchdown passes of at least 38 yards. And then Jalen Hyatt had a career night. My goodness, 166 yards. It's the first time he's passed the 100-yard mark as a receiver in a game. But he was explosive. And in typical Jalen Hyatt fashion, he had predicted to his dad he was going to score 2 touchdowns. And so he did. No witnesses, but hey, I believe him. But, no, I just thought it was a complete win for Tennessee. The quarterbacks were very efficient. And while Hooker was 14 of 18 and really looked good, Joe Milton continues to impress. He continues to show he's a much better quarterback than he was a year ago. He had a couple long balls that a year ago I thought he might have overthrown them, but he did not, and he just looks more comfortable, more confident. You never know when you might need him. But I just thought it was a solid effort. God, would they get 676 yards of offense? I think that's maybe the 5th most ever at Tennessee.
It is.
Yep. And then the defense did its job. Like they weren't challenged a great deal, but they did their job and held Akron without a touchdown.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing was a couple guys that got banged up. Yeah. Jabari Small in the first series, he was on the sideline, but he didn't look like he was significantly hurt. And then Cedric Tillman during the game went down. That was scary. The stadium went quiet when that happened.
It did. Both were in the first half, and when Tillman went down, we asked Hendon Hooker about that later, and his first reaction was, I hope it's not serious. Tillman means a lot to this offense, right? He is the best receiver. He's arguably the best receiver in the FCC. You need him against Florida.
No.
And look, I know that Hyatt came through and did well, and Brew McCoy's a good receiver, but Tillman's the guy.
Yeah.
And if you take him out of the equation, I think Tennessee is easier to defend. And so it's very important they get him back. We don't know yet his status, nor do we know Jabari Small's status either. But to me, Tillman is the bigger blow out of the two.
Yeah, encouraging he could put some weight on it and walking off the field. So that definitely was a positive. Another positive was being able to play a lot of guys in this game. You mentioned Milton, but I thought there were a number of guys, especially defensively and in that wide receiving group, that got a chance to show what they can do.
Yeah, we saw Squirrel White get a long pass thrown to him. Ramel Keaton was in there. We did see some other wide receivers. Callaway got some snaps. We'll get to him a little bit later.
Yeah.
But they were able to work some more folks in there, which is what you need to do against Akron. So I really like where Tennessee is going into the Florida game. I think they're confident. One of the things, Vince, at Pitt that they struggled with was first down production.
Right.
Wasn't an issue tonight. They were very effective on first down. I charted that in the first half, and guys, they averaged almost 10 yards a play on first down, and they had a lot of gains on first down of at least 5 yards, which is what you want. And that makes your offense more efficient when you're ahead of the chains like that.
Dylan Sampson, I thought, looked good tonight, too.
I did, too. The young running back from Louisiana. We keep hearing the coaches brag about how he picked things up so fast and how he knows the playbook and how he knows pass protection. He knows what to do. He darts through the line. He is going to be a really good back. In some ways, he reminds me a little bit of Jalen Wright.
Yeah.
But I think Sampson is a guy that's got a chance to have a really bright future at Tennessee.
Yeah, and Wright was a workhorse, liked the way he ran hard tonight. And then 10 different Tennessee players have scored touchdowns to the first 3 games. That's definitely encouraging. Okay, everyone wants to get to the Florida Gators, Jimmy. We saw Smokey in the end zone. He had an inflatable gator, which had the crowd going crazy. You can find that on Twitter, and just smashing that and having fun with it. Where is this team with Florida looming, who escaped against my alma mater, USF? Sorry about that, Vols fans. My team couldn't help you out there. But where do you think this team is headed up into that huge rivalry game here next week?
What Florida's done the last 2 weeks is more like the Florida team I thought we would see this year.
Yeah.
The team that beat Utah, I'm like, wait a minute, where'd that come from? Well, Anthony Richardson played the game of his career. But since then, look, South Florida at one point late in that game had outgained Florida by 100 yards. And Anthony Richardson at one point late in that game had 112 passing yards. South Florida, at some point, I don't know what they ended up with, but had like 250-plus yards rushing.
Right.
That amazed me to see that. I think Florida's concerned a little bit. Their best game of the year might have been what they did at Utah, but I like where Tennessee is going into the game. And if you're a Tennessee fan, I would think you're pretty confident. Now, I get it. Florida's won 16 of the last 17 head-to-head, but I think Richardson has struggled the last 2 games. Florida's team has not been as sharp as it was against Utah. We'll see what they're like when they come to Neyland Stadium for that 3:30 kick, but I like where Tennessee is right now.
And just a pat on the back for the fans. I mean, Josh Heupel was talking about how he's never experienced a ball walk like that. This was against Akron.
Yeah.
Great crowd, sellout crowd. What do you think the number actually in the building was?
It was about 90.
Okay.
Yeah, for Akron,
right.
Hey, that's really good. There were a number of empty seats in the north upper end zone.
Right.
There were a few in the lower bowl. There are a few thousand in the lower bowl, more in the upper bowl. But I thought for a game against Akron, man, I thought it was a tremendous crowd. You mentioned Josh Heupel said he'd never been through a vol walk like that. Look, they played Ole Miss last year, and it was a sellout. They had Georgia last year, and there were a ton of fans here. But he said there were more fans that he could remember watching during the vol walk, which certainly energized him, energized the team, and I thought they played like it.
Just wait till next Saturday, Coach Heupel. Yeah. Bar here for Akron. It's coming up for the Florida game. It's just going to be nuts. Jimmy and Judge Tim Irwin will be on Sunday Sports Sound Off on the Sports Animal Sunday morning from 8 until 10. Plus, get to Jimmy's blog on our website, 991thesportsanimal.com. And then you can follow Jimmy on Twitter at Jimmy Hyams. I'm Vince Ferrara at Vince Sports. Thanks to Tommy. Thanks to Jimmy. Thank you for watching here on 99.1 The Sports Animal.